You want to send them this link to join, right? You want to send them this link. So you're welcome. Thank you for taking time to join. This promises to be very informative, very expository. Our coach is already in the room to take us through his journey, and also beyond giving us information to also inspire us to make that decision and take that first step. Right. You're welcome. This is eMigr8 Open Day. Um, we're live on all our platforms. So you want to share the invite with all your friends, colleague, and anyone in the tech space or anyone in the founder stage or, looking at exploring other markets for their startup, right? eMigr8. So, we've been around for quite a bit now. So I think most people in the room would know who eMigr8 is, but for the purpose of those that are just joining and those that will see this later on, eMigr8, we are a tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. We're a tech platform that enables individuals and startup business owners to um, move to different ecosystem, right? Right. So we are a platform that appraises your business, that appraises your profile to make sure you are globally attractive and position you in a unique position where institutions across the globe will seek for your expertise, right? And nations will extend invite to you to come and set up your startup or your business in their ecosystem. We're tech enabled. Our focus is tech. We're leveraging tech um, mostly, right? So you won't hear us talk about education routes. You won't hear us talk about healthcare routes. All right, we are focused on tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. Today, topic is a startup founder's guide to the UK Global Talent Visa. So we're going to be talking about the UK Global Talent, but our focus will be a startup founder's guide. So for everyone in the room that is building something, that is planning to build something, or that is already, doing your market research, doing your ideation, right? This is going to be a very useful session for you, right? So pay close attention. It's also a session you want to ask as many questions as possible so that we can unpack unpack more, because it's not a session we can exhaust in one day or in one session. So as many questions as we can get, it will, give the topic a better coloration and give you more information. So when the presentations are ongoing, when our coach is already in the room, coach Dami is already in the room. So when he's presenting, please guys use the chat rooms to put in your questions, and he will get to the question after his presentation, right? So just use the chat room. We like the sessions to be very interactive so that we can all get value out of it, right? We've had various tech-enabled pathway visa discussions in the past, and they are all on our social medias, all on YouTube, they're all on our pages. Move to the US, move to Canada, move to Australia using the Australian Global Talent visa route, move to Canada using the Startup Canada visa route, right? Move to the US, we've talked extensively on different visa route to the US, the O1, the EB1 also, right? And most recently, the move to Hong Kong, right, which was the last edition that we had. So today we're talking about move to the UK, leveraging the global talent for startup founders, right? A startup founder's guide to the UK. However, we have these campaigns still ongoing, still running, Settle in the UK as a global talent. This is open to both beginners and intermediates or experts also. Beginners, intermediate, and experts, this is open to you. You can move with your dependent, you can move with your family. It's available for those who are looking to switch visas for settlement, right? The beauty of this is that it's three parts we put together, and that means it gives you three guarantees. So we're looking at, Tech Nation, we're looking at Innovator Founder Visa, we're looking at skilled worker visa in one package, right? So you want to take advantage of this, right? Send a message to the through SMS or WhatsApp to the numbers on the slide that you're looking at, or you can do a screenshot of the slide, or you can go to www.emigrate with an 8 visa, one word.com. There's a short form there. We just want to know where you are on your journey, what you are looking at for, so that we can advise appropriately, right? We have editions coming up. Pay attention to our social media handles. We're going to be announcing who is coming up next and what we're going to be discussing in the next edition, right? But it's going to be centered around innovator founder visa, technician, or move as a global talent. Any of those will come up next. So eMigr8, like I said, it's a tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement, right? It's incubated by Baincom Global, is integrated, incubated, sorry, by Baincom, right? So if you were going to talk about Baincom just in a bit, but still on eMigr8, um, what do we do exactly? I've said tech-enabled pathway. What we do exactly is to help you become globally attractive, right? Help your business become globally attractive, help your startup to become globally attractive. How do we go about this? We appraise your tech profile for individuals, right? And make sure you are putting your best foot forward in every aspect of your profile. And we also help you appraise your startup, your business, to make sure position your business rightly, to attract attention from the global market, right? And for us, the visa is only a side effect of the objective. The objective is to make you become globally attractive. And a lot of things happen, a lot of opportunities and a lot of doors can open once you are a talent, a globally attractive talent. Everybody wants you in their ecosystem, right? Fantastic. So in our ecosystem as eMigr8, we have different, packages, and we have different services that we offer, and 80 to 85% of those services are free, right? So, for example, we are, having our open day today. It is free, right? And what you're bound to get is information, general inquiry. Use the chat room to ask a lot of questions. But outside of the open day, we also have an ecosystem, a community on WhatsApp, on social media platform, WhatsApp, Telegram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and where we do a bit of coaching and hand-holding in those platforms. We also do a bit of assessment for qualification, just to know if you are qualified for the visa route that you are exploring, and what can you do, to be qualified, in case you are not yet there, right? We also do self-directed roadmap to qualify individual for tech-enabled pathway, right? Also qualify businesses also for tech-enabled pathway visas, right? So these are the things we do. We have global talent visas, where we review your application for global talent, and also we review endorsement. We also offer endorsement review process. Now with global talent, we have significant success, right? And so we have testimonials, and we have some of our successes, and have now become coaches, and they are also teaching people, educating people, helping people, hand-holding people like you to get through the application phase for themselves also. So this is what we do, and it's, like I said, it's 85% free, right? But we also have the premium packages, right? Where we have the premium eMigr8 circle, personalized coaching between 30 to 1 hour. Those are paid services. That's why they are premium, right? We also have package, for reviews and introductions, right? Things that we can focus you on. For example, if you are a C-suite executive and you don't have the time, you want us to be able to help you do some of the low-hanging fruit when it comes to application. There are things that you just have to do yourself, but there are some of the low-hanging fruit that we can, have a coach guide you through, right? That is why it is premium. So you have to pay for the time the coach is going to be investing in those applications. We also have custom services to suit your, your demands, your schedule, as the case may be, right? Go to emigrate.com, emigratvisa.com, and there's a short form again. Fill out the form. We just want to know where you are, and what you are looking out for. It's a very short form. Or go to beancom.net/emigrate. It will lead you to the same form, and it will lead you to the same community, which is the Emigrate community. Emigrate packages, we've talked about this extensively in all our previous edition, right? Our packages include move to the UK as a global talent. The country in focus for that is the United Kingdom. The type of visa in focus of that is the Global Talent Visa, the UK Global Talent Visa, otherwise known as the Technician Visa. We also have moved to the UK as an innovator founder. Again, UK is the focus. And this is targeted at founders, startup founders, business owners, small, medium scale business owners, as the case may be. They're looking at moving their businesses or their enterprise to the United Kingdom, right? We have packages that can help you and make sure your journey is smooth, and will provide you with all the information that you would need to make it smooth. Yeah, move to the US also as a global talent. This focuses on the US O1 visa for individuals with extraordinary ability or achievement, right? This focuses on the US route. We have partnership, we have coaches also that can hold you and show you how extraordinary you are. Just looking at your profile, what you have been up to in the tech ecosystem that you belong to, right? And product that you have put out, those are the kind of things we want to look out for. What are the numbers that they are doing, and help you position it rightly so that you are um, awarded the US Global Talent Visa, which is the US O1 visa. Also moved to Canada as a startup founder, right? We have this, we talked about this extensively a few editions ago, and we have packages, these packages, we've done extensive sessions before now on some of them. We have the resource online and they are free. You can explore them, but beyond exploring them, we hope to handhold you through this process. We hope to mentor you through this process, offer you coaching advice through this process. So if you need any of those, come to our platforms, join our communities. I'm going to put a link to the community in the chat very soon. You can join any of the communities and we can network from there. Now, this is the Emigrate community. It's on WhatsApp, it's on Telegram, it's on Facebook, right? LinkedIn and YouTube. YouTube has all our resource in terms of open days. They are there, so you can go through any of the visa routes, that you're interested in. Just a simple search, you'll find them, those resources, and you can ask questions when you're done, and we'll be here to answer you. Right, I spoke earlier that Emigrate was incubated by Bincom Dev Center. Bincom Dev Center is a technology hub, right, that primarily preps individuals to become globally attractive, right? They have loads of products and offers that you want to take advantage of. One of them is the Bincom Global Tech program. This is for beginners level. If you're new to tech, if you're just switching careers and you're trying to pick up tech, I would recommend these also for you. If you've done self-taught for a while and you think you are in an intermediate level now, you need exposure, you need experience. The Bincom Global Tech program is a fantastic place to grow experience, because the promise of value here is that you learn skill. The promise of value is that you gain experience and you will gain exposure. Those are the three pillars that the Bincom Global Tech program is built around, right? Skills, experience, and exposure. Experience because you're going to be working on real life projects, all right? Exposure again because you're going to be working on real life project that is being used, that client interacts with, so you can understand what is needed in the field and how to navigate platforms that are already live and not just dummy platforms, or platforms that are already live. So if these interest you, all right, if you are one of those, you're trying to figure out how do I get experience in tech, how do I get exposure, So Bincom.net/global tech is where you want to go to, right? Bincom.net/global tech is where you want to go to. However, if you are already, a tech talent and you already have a bit of experience, now you want to become a global tech talent, right? Or you want to be a tech talent in the UK, right? Or you are, give me a minute. Okay. You're trying to land a tech role, in the UK. We have become a tech talent. This promises a tech apprenticeship offer in a UK company, right? We're offering references. We're also giving you coaching services. And this is one of the premium service that I talked about, but it is discounted heavily, if you ask me, at £1,000 for 3 months. So if you're looking for a pathway to landing a tech job and or a pathway to landing a tech visa, a job that can give you sponsorship, you want to look at become a tech talent which focuses on the UK market. So you want to look at this. This is very attractive, especially those that are trying to switch visas, right? Bincom.net/global tech is where you want to go to, or you can send a short message to or call the number you see on the slide, right? And we'll be able to advise further. We just want to know where you are on your journey, right? What skill set do you have? What skill set are you trying to build, right? And we can advise further and connect you to the right resource and the right coaches that can help you on your journey, right? Other services by Bincom include the Bincom mentoring platform. So for most of the tech visa routes, mentorship is something that they all look out for. It's one of the criteria that might be optional in some, might be mandatory in some, but it's one of the criteria that you see often across different countries that are offering tech visas, right? And so you want to, just tick this box as a mentor. We have a community of mentees who are looking out for mentors. So if you are an expert in your field and you're looking to give back, you're looking to mentor somebody, we can connect you in our communities with mentors, with mentees. But if you're a mentee also and you're looking for mentors, you want to jump into the communities because what we try to do is to communicate, what we try to do is to link mentees to mentors and mentors to mentees on the Bincom mentoring platform, right? So it's a fantastic platform for anyone that's looking out for an opportunity to be a mentor or that's looking out for an opportunity to mentor, um, to be a mentee to a mentor in any field, right? So Bincom.net/mentor registration is where you want to go to. Whether you're a mentor or you're a mentee, we would love to have you on this platform and we would love to connect you with the right resource also. Now, Last by Bincom is also an amazing platform on the Bincom platform, right? So what Last by Bincom does is for individuals who are looking to start a business, especially for who are looking to start, their own startup business, especially in tech, all right, or mainly in tech, I should say. Right, Last by Bincom is a 3 to 6 months program where you learn how to build a startup, from ideation to market, to growth phase. It's a 3 to 10 cohort members who come together and build a startup. So you're going to be working with people with diverse skill sets, working on a singular idea. So for example, we want to build, a vehicle that move customers from point A to point B. And that's the idea. Now these cohort members come together with their skill set, project manager, um, back-end engineer, front-end engineer will pair it together and you can all build a product. The beauty of this is that you can use this product in your applications. You can use this product to boost your portfolios as a product contributor, product manager, product owner, stuff like that. Excuse me. You can use this product also in your application for any of the visa route because most of the visa route, especially if you're looking at technician, they're looking at individual who have built products in a digital-led organization, right? So product-led digital organization is usually the focus. What have you built? What solution do you have? What market is in? How many people are using it? What is the impact story of that product in itself, right? So last by income is very important, right? And it ties into the conversation we're going to be having today, which is a startup founder guide to global talent, to the Technician Global Talent Visa, right? So if you are in this category, if you're a founder or you would be founder and you're looking for experience, also know that Technician, just for the purpose of this conversation, Technician, don't exactly are not looking for consultant. They're not looking for people in the service industry in tech. So if you're in the service industry in tech or if you're in consulting industry in tech, you want to invest time in building a product if you're looking at Technician. So that's what makes last by income quite important, right? All right. Um, we also have tech career coaching services, right? For tech employment and recruitment service for individuals. If you're looking to land again a role in the UK, if you're looking to land a role again in any market, as the case may be, we have coaches from different markets that can advise you on some of the tips of the things you need to do, how to dot your I's and cross your T's in different markets to land a tech role, how to build relevant experience in your target country, for example. And, connection to tech recruiters in your target country, for example, is some of the benefits you get from the Bincom Tech career coaching platform. Now, if that is if that's where you are at the moment, you want to go to bincom.net/tech career coaching, right? So to land a tech role, to build relevant experience in your target country, and to connect to tech recruiters in your target countries, and also look out for jobs with works visa sponsorship. This is a platform you want to go to. So I'm going to run quickly because of time. Um, Now this is most of the packages we have talked about are represented on this sheet, right? On this slide that you're looking at. So for the UK, this is just a screenshot of the various visas from startup to talent, to work-based visas, to digital nomad visas, and other visas. This is not exhaustive, but this is just to give you an idea of the packages we have and the countries that they represent, right? So today we're going to talk about startup. So the startup visas for the UK is the Innovator Founder Visa for the UK, for example. For the US, it's called the International Entrepreneur Parole, IEP visa. For Canada, obviously, of course, it's called the Startup Visa for Canada, right? So these are the various packages that we advise on. These are the various packages that we have coaches that can walk you through. You can do a screenshot of these in your spare time and go through the visa. The beauty of all these visas is that you can Google them. There are loads of information online, pertaining to all the visa you're looking at. So you can do your research. And if you have a question regarding any of these visa routes, we will give you a gift at the end of this session. If you wait to the end of the session, that will enable you ask those questions with any of our coaches as available, right? So please stick around. There's a gift that will enable you take your journey a step forward. All right. So take a screenshot, Google them, find out more about them, ask questions, and we'll be here to guide you through where you are unclear as regards the visa route that you are interested in. Right. Now, for all of these visa routes, for all of these opportunities, whether you're talking about the digital nomad visa or you're talking about the startup visas across, the US, the UK, Australia, even Hong Kong, the talent visas, the, work-based visas, for all of them, right? One of the things that they are all looking at for all the criteria is pointing to someone who is globally attractive. The criteria that they are all looking at for is pointing to someone who is globally attractive, someone that can solve problem, someone that can generate value, right? Someone that can offer value and give value, right? Because they want you to come to the ecosystem, one, to offer value, right? Two, to create value by creating employment and employing their citizens and that, directly or indirectly contribute to the GDP of that country. Now, the lowest common denominator, like as you can see, is become globally attractive. Once you are globally attractive, you would be sought after globally by nations, right? The visa opportunities we focus on at eMigr8, they are often time oftentimes they lead to their pathway to settlement. They lead to settlement if you're interested in settlement. They allow you move with your family, your dependents, right? Especially for those of us who are married, you can move with your dependent, right? And they are beginner friendly. So if you are hearing us for the first time or you're joining our session for the first time, and you're wondering, when do I become globally attractive, or how do I know I'm globally attractive? Right. we can create a roadmap for you as a beginner to say, in the next 6 months, in the next 12 months, in the next 18 months, depending on how fast you want to work, we can get you to become globally attractive. And that's why we have partnership, we have platforms like Last by Bincom, like the Bincom Global Tech platform, the Bincom mentoring platform. These platforms exist to be able to push you forward and put your best foot forward as regards being globally attractive. Now, we focus mainly and only on tech-enabled opportunities, right? And we have videos in the past, resource online that you can binge on in your spare time. Again, the benefits uh, is not exhaustive is not at all. There are a lot of things that we do that we cannot just capture on one slide, right? But when you join the ecosystem, you can ask questions and a coach can unpack these benefits more for you, right? In 2023, we did what we call the eMigr8 Tech Visa Landscape review, right? And that is looking at the various tech platform and the various tech visas that were being issued, some of the changes that we saw, some of the projections that we saw, and that was captured. So if you want to know more about that, I'll share the link on the chat, and you can go and read about the changes, the opportunities, the introductions into the visa landscape, or especially the tech-enabled visa landscape for 2023. And you might have an idea of what's coming late in the later part of 2024, and what organizations or what countries are looking at, in terms of direction and how they are attracting the best talent to their ecosystem. Now, I've shared about TechNation, I've shared about eMigr8. I've shared about the platforms that we partner with, our sister companies that we also partner with, and the services they offer. If you still don't think you don't qualify, and you're wondering what should I do next, right? We have for especially for newbies in the house, we have journey from a newbie to globally attractive. This requires a personalized roadmap, right? So it's you are a newbie, I think, in the first two classes or the first two sessions. After that, you're on a journey to becoming globally attractive. So we're looking at beginners, intermediate, and experts for various visa route that is available. So if this is you and you're saying, oh, I'm just a year old in the tech space, or I'm a month old in the tech space, I'm looking at, moving from supply chain management, or I'm looking at moving from banking to fully into tech. How do I become a globally attractive tech talent, right? This package exists for you, right? And it's a personalized roadmap that we have, and we can work with you depending on your schedule, depending on the uniqueness of your own circumstances, because we believe you have transferable skills, you have transferable knowledge that will help you move quickly, right? This package does exist. Please reach out and we'll connect you with the right coaches. But for today, we're going to be talking to Coach Dami on on a startup founder guide to the UK Global Tech Visa, right? A startup founder guide. Kudami is the co-founder and CEO of Hybrid Credits, right? He is a founder. He's a startup founder. He's a tech founder. He has a lot of experience. He has a lot of information. He's going to share in his session. But to make it even more valuable, yeah, right, to you or to, please don't ask personal questions because there are different people in the room. But you can ask general questions and you can ask specific questions. But we don't want you asking questions with personalized information because if in case you don't want to have your business in a public space, right? But we have the coaching environment where you can ask personalized questions. But use the chat room as best as you can to ask questions, and Coach Dami is going to go through those questions when he's done with his presentation. All right. Coach Dami, are you there? Let me stop sharing and
Yeah,
invite
I'm
you.
here.
Okay, so
I'm here, Midi. Can you
welcome.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. You're welcome. Thank you for joining, and it's over to you. Yeah.
Pleasure to be here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. And I want to use the opportunity to thank eMigr8 for giving me this platform to share my journey and insights with you all. I know it's supposed to be a guide, but this is my own personal experience and my own navigation of tech land space in Nigeria or Africa, and now currently in the UK, and I guess how I'm navigating that whole landscape here as well. So without any further ado, my name is Damno Jumoran KG, but if you see me outside, you can call me Dami. Currently, I'm a global talent recipient in the UK, and as Moody mentioned, I co-founded a startup called Hybrid Credits, and I'm also the CEO running or leading the charge at the company. So at Hybrid Credits, what we're focused on empowering immigrants with access to credits. So we use their previous credits and financial information from their home country to prove their creditworthiness in the UK. So we want immigrants who are just relocating to the UK to have access to credit or have access to an alternative scoring mechanism that can be used to access credit for rental, banking, and other financial services as well. So you might say this is a gigantic problem that we're solving, but maybe if I give you context in my background, it would help shed light as to why I'm tackling this problem. So that's kind of like a summary before I dive in. And going into my background, I was introduced to the world of technology very early on. I studied computer science at the University of Babcock for my undergraduate, and afterwards kind of dedicated my career to growing the digital technology sector in Africa by building products that solved real problems. And if I'm being honest, to also get paid. Because what's the point of building solutions that solve problems and you're not getting paid from it? So during my time at university during my time at university, I explored a number of technical roles. So I saw myself as a front-end engineer, a designer. At this point, developing apps, developing applications were still very foreign and novel. So I think that was to my advantage. And every role under the umbrella of software development, I want to say I explored it, right? And subsequently, when I wanted to step into like the corporate or professional scene, I had the privilege of interning at KPMG, one of the big four auditing firms. To be honest, I would say that's when my eyes kind of opened because the autonomy within limits that they gave me and the responsibilities I was charged with fueled my appetite to excel in the other startups that I worked with because it was across different industries from healthcare to venture capital to fintechs. So primarily before I left Nigeria, I was working with startups from the ideation stage and helping them build, their products block by block in different capacities, in different roles, right? And if there's any particular role that you're interested in the chat, from product management to data or business analysis or analysis that you'd want me to speak further on, I'm more than happy to, dive deeper into those disciplines. So, like I was saying, before I left Nigeria to come to the UK, I I had amassed different experiences across technical and non-technical roles, both from my side gigs, side hustles, freelance projects, together with my professional experience as well. So further along the line from KPMG, I joined my first startup, which is called Helium Health. Right now, they're the biggest electronic medical records provider out of Africa. And when I joined, they were still very early in their ideation, or they were still very early in formulating the products. And when I joined, up until the point I left, there were different things that I was able to contribute to from a sales product perspective. That one led us to get into Y Combinator and also get us to securing some partnerships and extending the ministry of the solution that we're solving across the country. So I would say that was really my first startup, or my first introduction to the startup ecosystem. And if I'm giving advice in between my presentation, one, I must say, if you're looking to build a company, whether in Nigeria, Africa, Ghana, the UK, right? My own advice or suggestion is you actually try or do research into starting a startup or a company. Or two, if you can't, you should work for one. And it might sound mundane and something that's like a no-brainer and you should do, right? But for me, the reason why I was able to get to the point where I am now is I had the opportunity of working with multiple startups, some just for the experience, some internship, some just for the purpose of getting additional context in a particular industry or space, right? But in order for you to be able to build a company and build it well, you have to have gotten your hands dirty by intentionally or actively working on something, trying to build something, or working with other people who are trying to build something so as well. So back to my, I guess, journey from Nigeria to the UK. So like I was saying, before I left Nigeria, I found myself building financial products that made it easier for Africans to invest and get access to credit instantly. So during this period, I worked at investment companies like Bamboo and Cheaper Cash. And before I left, started or co-founded my first startup called Carrot Credits that provided access to credits for Nigerians that had digital assets like stocks, crypto, etc. And really and truly, this was the front and center of my application and what I used to, I guess, narrate what I was coming to do or my continuity plan when I came to the UK. So again, giving advice as I'm giving my presentation, one of the things I would say that helped my application was, years before I left, the products I found myself building were focused on the emerging underserved individuals, right, out of Nigeria, out of Africa, right. So coming into the UK, right, it was with that same thinking or with that same problem to solve, right, that I was coming here to continue developing or doubling down on. So in my application, talking about my experience and the things that I was focusing on working on, in light of the things that I was going to do when I did come to the UK, it was easy to tie what I'd been working on with what I was going to come and work on in the UK. And luckily for me, with this global talent visa, you don't have to come into the UK with a 9 to 5 job, or you don't have to have a 9 to 5 job already, right? This visa is focused or is targeting entrepreneurs, skilled workers, people that have essentially worked in digital-led companies or product-led companies, right? This particular visa is attracting those kind of individuals. So coming into the UK, even without the 9 to 5 was possible because I was coming here to come and build. And this visa enabled me to, explore different outlets in building hybrid credits in the UK. So in terms of my journey from Nigeria to the UK, it was my whole narrative was around, the problem I'm solving in Nigeria and how I could extend that when I when I do come to the UK. And in terms of the application itself, I must say it was pretty straightforward. If you thoroughly read, it's like comprehension, right? Or also like comprehension to me. If you thoroughly read the application that has been presented by the endorsing body, which is Technician, right? You can already, you can already, you can already, sorry guys, you can already, start. And before I even get to that point, so another thing I did, right? And I was telling Moody earlier, this is one of the very few, I guess, public coaching sessions that I've done. Most of the sessions that I have are usually back office or one-on-one or one-to-one, right? And in terms of putting together or storytelling, I do a decent job there. But this was an application that, was going to change the course or trajectory of my career, my life, and I wanted to put my best foot forward. So rather than put the application together myself, what I did was um I enlisted a consultant to help me out with putting my putting my thoughts together, putting my experiences together, and putting it in a format that would be easily digestible and understandable by whoever was reading the application. So one, not only did I know I was eligible for this particular visa, two, I did everything possible to make sure I put in the best application forward by enlisting someone to help formulate the application. And in doing that, it was constant meetings, it was back-to-back revisions of the application. And what you want to do is get solid recommendations from people who you've worked with who are verifying or validating what it is that you put in your application, right? So if you put in your application, you worked on this project, if you worked on this project that developed this product that enabled company to get X return or X revenue, or for me, for example, led the company to get into Y Combinator, or the activities that I worked on were instrumental to the company getting into Y Combinator, right? So if you put that in your application, you would want whoever that is referencing or writing a reference for you to sort of validate or verify that, right? So your manager at the time, or your colleague at the time who's now in a different organization, in the recommendation letter would highlight certain achievements that you've accomplished, right? That would now, align or tally with what it is you put in your application. So even down to your personal statement, everything that you're putting together is one cohesive story or narrative about your experience. And there is nothing sweeter or more interesting than reading someone's, not even an application, just reading someone's story or narration of work that they've done, right? And it's so eloquently written that you have no choice but to either want to speak to the person or give the person whatever it is that they want. So in putting together my application, anybody that read it, right, like if they were standing up, they will sit down they will sit down to review it. If there were any if there were any errors or anything that I could improve on, I was always open to feedback and I was improving on it. And I'll say one unorthodox thing that I actually did was at the point where I wanted to submit, I went online, checked Reddit and a couple other forums to find other alumni that had, successfully gotten the visa application. And I reached out to one of them and asked if they could review my application. Because these are people who have written it multiple times. My head is not sharper or smarter than anyone who has written and gotten feedback directly from these people. So I reached out to someone, and what you find out is people are actually responsive and receptive to, like-minded people or similar people who are applying or doing things that they've been through. So he was very receptive and he actually reviewed my application and gave me feedback in which I worked on and used to update my application. So that goes without saying, like whatever application that you're doing, right? Just focus on putting like your best foot forward and submitting an application that even your English teacher from high school or university, they sit down to read it, right? Like whatever it is that you want out of the application will be given to you. And another thing that I found, unlike Nigeria, unlike Nigeria, right? And unlike Nigeria here, everyone is given a fair chance, right? So if you're documenting things that you've done in a manner in which you've done them and it makes sense, there are ways for them to verify it. And there isn't any bias or bureaucracy to the endorsements that you get. So at this point, the onus is really on you who's putting together the application, right? Put your best foot forward and capture everything that you've done and get people to tally the things that you've done and provide supporting documents, the things that you've done. And if you've done in your heart of hearts, if you've done all of those things, you're more than likely going to get this visa. So this generally has been my own experience. And to wrap everything in a bow for us, I'll just be speaking on, I'll say what I'll consider, what I'll consider to be a global attractive person to to global companies or like to the world globally, right? But the reality is before you can become globally attractive, right, you have to consistently deliver value and be solving real problems, right? And real problems can be in any industry or any sector. You can be solving real problems in the healthcare, entertainment, fintech industry, but you just want to show or you have to show that you're solving like real problems. And before you get to the point where you're even able to solve problems, you need to have an understanding of how people in this field or how people who are developing or building like methodologically solve problems in a methodological way. So to land that point is if you're like myself looking to build a startup or coming to build a startup founder, no matter what industry it is, in my opinion, the most critical thing to have is having a good grasp of technology, right? Either yourself or whoever you're partnering with. And the reason for that is if you want to conceptualize how to build something, but you don't have any notion or understanding of how technology works, it would be it would be like you're shooting yourself in the foot, or like you're taking this with one hand tied behind your back, right? So generally, I'd recommend to anyone who wants to go down this route of being a founder or a builder, essentially, to take a programming class or just take something technical, right? Or just have a sense of how technology works, not because you want to be a programmer or because you want to be building or because you want to be building applications, or because you want to understand what is involved in building and how you're able to even like understand this helps you work with people seamlessly in building like the final product in the end. Because as a founder, as the CEO, the one at the helm of the company, you're going to be interacting with a myriad of people, from engineers to designers, and you don't want what they're saying to be going over your head. So for me, it was easy to, like get to this point and solve this problem I'm trying to solve because there are multiple roles, there are multiple things I've done in the past has given me a sense of the different nuances or the different things that happen, the different things that happen within the different verticals of building a company. So I have experience working with branding, marketing, product design, product management, project management. So it's hard to really, like fabu or like just like Yeah, just BS me on like certain subjects or topics because I have a certain level of understanding. So my advice to anyone looking to build, as much as possible, try to get continuous learning on the different things that make up like building a product or projects. And with that, you'd be more than globally attractive to anybody. And with that, I rest my case on my journey, and I yield to Moody.
All right, fantastic. We have loads of questions. Hope you don't mind. All right. So we wanted to, somebody asked earlier to say, why did you decide to start going to startup, for example? What was the deciding factor for you? Right? Because you have this skill set, you can go for high paying job. Why is startup for you?
So for me, that question, very good question, I must say. But to answer that, I would have to take you back to like post university for me.
Okay.
So post university for me was when I'd gone through, studying computer science. I picked up certain skills like design, front-end engineering. And at the time, I was a freelancer who was getting gigs from different referrals. I was getting gigs online. So at points, I was earning more money than my counterparts who were working 9 to 5, right? So on its own, I was already, accumulating skill sets, and I was also getting paid. So at the time when I wanted to join an organization, right, I wasn't, I didn't want to join an organization because of the flexibility of hours that I've been, used to or comfortable with. I didn't want to join an organization where I would be restricted in certain ways, my dressing, like how I thought, how I innovated, etc. So at that point, the only companies that were attractive to me, right, were one, people with similar interests or people working on things that were interesting to me at the time. And generally, most of them were around my age and young. So one was working with people, my counterparts within my age brackets who were focused on like building something. And two, when we look beyond, right, you look outside of Nigeria, like the people who were innovating and building things at the time were young people like us. So why not replicate the things that they were doing outside of
Yeah.
the country, do it in Nigeria? And I must say, one of the things that we struggled with initially was our age. Now as now as people are more comfortable when they see a young person in Nigeria or CBN sees a young person in Nigeria talking about trying to get a banking license. At the time when we're building products, the way we looked,
Yeah, go ahead,
okay,
go
no,
ahead.
that's a different
We'll come to
question.
that question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, so at the time, yeah, at the time there were so many things that were restricting us from, like properly like building products. So I guess it was stubbornness and also trying to prove like the adults, like the older generation,
Yeah.
that there are other ways or other paths to success other than like the stereotypical like 9 to 5 path that you must take after university. And I guess like naivety of being like a young individual was one of the reasons why like the risky option of working in a startup made sense to me then.
All right. So fantastic. Now, there's another question. These are just questions that we have before now. Now, while I'm waiting for guys in the chat to also ask their question. All right. Can you remember the criteria you applied against? All right. During when you were applying for your technician visas, there's the mandatory criteria and the optional criteria. All right. So can you remember those criteria? Or can you share more light as to why you went for those criteria?
So what we can do, I can come back to that question. Let me pull up my drive so I speak from a place of truth.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I will just speak to the question on the group. I'm still waiting. I'm still confused with the term product-led companies. right? So what it means is that these are organizations that have products, right? They are not service-based organization. They are not consulting-based organization. Consulting-based organization don't have their own product. They just consult for you on how to make your product more effective, right? Or connect to the right market. Service guys are just there to, as the name suggests, offer services, all right? And product-led organization are companies that have actual products. So when you go through, the best way to break it down is when you go to your app, Apple app or Android app space, you will see different applications. Apple Store, I should say, Apple Stores and the Android Play Store. You see different applications. Those applications are products. They were built to solve problems, right? The guy the guys that work in those apps, that's somebody's 9 to 5 to make sure that app is up and running, to make sure, when you click login, it's not taking you somewhere else, right? It's somebody's 9 to 5. Now, that is a product-led organization. They work around the product. Now, there are organizations that have multiple products, right? You have to take that into consideration. There are organizations that have multiple products. So Meta, for example, is an organization that has multiple products. WhatsApp, it's on itself, it's a product. Facebook is a product. Instagram is a product. So there are organizations like that that have multiple products. Amazon is one of these organizations. They have multiple products within their ecosystem. All right. So hope that was clear. The idea really is you have something you are selling, a product that you are selling, not a service, right? Okay. Um,
So you can ask the question again. I think I have
right.
like a
So
few.
for you, fantastic. Thank you for bringing us back. I was going into the next question. When you were applying for technician, right, what criteria did you apply against? Why did you apply against those criterias? Because you might have met multiple other criteria, but you chose specific ones that you applied against. And if you can share more light on those criteria, on those optional criterias and the mandatory criterias, so that everybody in the call can be educated as to when they're making these decisions.
Okay, so for mandatory criteria, the first one was proof of recognition as having potential to be a leading talent
Okay.
in the digital technology field. I went about that one by talking about my experiences at Cleum Health, so the startups that I worked with, and how my efforts led to how the different activities or different things that I did led us to, achieving certain like milestones. And
Mhm.
like I said previously in my presentation, I also included reference letters from the CEO and my previous manager at the time. And in these reference letters, which are attached to the application, which are attached to that particular section, if you go through it, my manager and CEO at the time doubled down or reiterated on what I put in the application. So as I said I did this, my manager and the CEO reaffirmed that I actually did this. So that was the mandatory criteria for one.
Mhm.
Um, so I put two. So I put Helium Health and also put my experience at Bamboo too. And it was the same thing. So for this, it wasn't a reference letter that I used. I used my promotion letter. So my promotion letter was the supporting documents that I used. Again, they want to see progressive steps, or they want to see that the things that you're doing are being either appreciated or creating value or impacting, you know, or moving a certain needle, right? So for my work at Bamboo, I was like, what else can I use um to show, progress or achievement? And one of the things I used was the letter promotions that I got. I think I got quite a ton. I worked multiple roles at Bamboo, so I just put those promotion letters there. Then for so under mandatory criteria, there was 1A and 1B. So 1A was where I put my efforts at Helium. And then 1B was where I put my efforts at Bamboo with supporting letters from the CEO. So again, if you can get solid individuals or veterans to write you, reference letters, that would also go a long way. And you can actually be creative with the supporting like documents that you use, right? Like it doesn't have to be a letter. Because now I'm looking at my mandatory criteria 1C, and it was cheaper cash. And literally what I put here was, okay, I put my contract at cheaper cash, like a screenshot of it on the doc, and also a screenshot of the message that the director of operations sent to me on LinkedIn regarding the role, right? So again, they're trying to, they want to know you're, like Moody said, like globally attractive, but they want to know your hot cake, right? And nobody knows how, only the cake knows like how hot. Obviously, people might have tasted the cake, so they know how hot it is, but only you can like tell or show how hot you are, right, as a cake. So in this particular document, I use a screenshot of the message from not the recruiter, from the director that reached out to me regarding this role to show that, oh, like, like they actually are like looking for me. But again, you can be active with supporting documents that you use. It doesn't always have to be a reference letter. It doesn't always have to be a letter. It can be snippets of things that you've done. And yeah, so was it only on the mandatory criteria, or did you want me to talk about the
Yeah,
optional
the
criteria
optional
too?
one. I think the optional one would also give insights, you know. So if you can share,
Okay, so for the
yeah.
yeah, so for the optional criteria, that was evidence of recognition for work beyond the applicant's occupation that contributes to the advancement of the field. So for this, I put my side projects or freelance work that I did on the side. So this one was mostly like project management work I did working with microfinance banks, web, helping them build web products. But again, remember how I spoke about not coining, putting together your narrative, right? So for my side quest, it was just project management, but my application, right, because it was also within like the financial fintech space, I was able to tie it into the current work that I was doing now. So for this particular document, supporting the supporting document or supporting screenshots that I used was an email. So a screenshot of an email showing the stakeholder or like the chief executive putting together the team for this particular project. And you can clearly see my name there stated as the project manager for this particular project. So I also added subsequent, emails that showed CEOs of the pardon?
No, go ahead. Sorry. I think there was a glitch.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So for this particular one, it was mostly like screenshots of emails between correspondences that I had with either the bank or my direct supervisor regarding this particular project. I also added screenshots of some of the documents that I created there. I created for those projects, showing the high level work plan and project scope. So again, the evidence here, or the evidence of work beyond my occupation, was still within. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it wasn't a product led. It wasn't a product led organization, right? But it was still under the guise of like building like a product, right? So software development was still required for this particular project, and since this was an optional criteria, right? I think it was like it made sense to just add it. It made sense to just add it there. So that's why I used as 2A. Even also for 2B, it was even still that same particular project. But I guess this time it was more on the feedback that I got from the bank itself. So the first one that I spoke about was the formulation of the team. So the screenshots or the supporting docs that I got for that particular section or criteria were docs created for, docs created for the project, the scope, high level work plan, and also the email showing the different team members. So the second one, which was evidence, was like the success or like the feedback from like the banks and also like the final product that was built. So it was a digital bank that we built for this particular microfinance bank. So screenshots of the application, emails from the CEO and the CTO regarding, like the projects and whatnot, were the screenshots and supporting documents that I used for, sorry, one second. Sorry, one second. Someone put on the lights.
All right, no
They don't
problem.
take lights. Yeah, they don't take lights in London, and I'm actually in London.
All right, fantastic. So there's a question in the chat. I was going to speak to that. Okay, you're back. All right, okay, you're back. So we'll allow you to continue with your thoughts.
And yeah, so lastly, you have criteria 2, 3B. Or lastly, you have the last optional criteria, which was evidence of significant commercial contributions as an employee of a product-led company. And something else that I must say, you don't have to limit you don't have to limit yourself to put in one company per like criteria. Because now looking at my optional criteria, I'm using the market research and feasibility study that I that I developed at Bamboo, right? My contributions there was what I used for justification in this particular section. So also here it was screenshots of, like products, screenshots of the products, the roadmap, and certain metrics. So this particular one, since it was commercial contribution, I needed to show certain things that would tie directly to the commercial, achievements that Bamboo had made. So I spoke about like the app, the roadmap, and I showed some metrics on tractions, NPS, users, deposits, etc. So I hope that was helpful because that covers all the
Yeah,
different
yeah,
criteria.
that's helpful. For someone in the chat, for someone on the call, that is looking to apply, they know how to go about it. I like the way you have supporting reference letter to validate some of the work that you have done and screenshots of emails and just to validate the work that you have done also. So somebody was picking information from there, which I think is very helpful. We have a question, and I know this person asking, how did eMigr8 help you? I know you didn't come through the eMigr8 platform, but you said you went online, and which is similar to what we do, and you reach out to somebody who had already applied before now, and they help review your application. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm just paraphrasing, but if you can speak to that process, how did you meet the person? What did the person do exactly? Because that's the meat of the question that this person is trying to get to.
Okay. Honestly, I'll go through LinkedIn and find the message, but that might take a while. But luckily for, I guess, everyone on the call, I didn't have the luxury of, knowing about eMigr8 at the time where I submitted the application. If I did, that additional review that had to do with the stranger, I may not have done it.
Mm.
Um, but I think it was either on Reddit or I just searched for technician like forums, right? And I think we Nigerians were, I don't know, I think we like helping each other, right?
Yeah.
So I found a forum, I found a thread of people actually discussing, discussing things about the application there. But I'll say maybe my personality type, I don't like joints. I always like personal, one-on-one,
Yeah.
so you can give me the actual gist or tea. But there's certain nuggets that you might miss out. Like you might don't want to type it because you're talking general public. But one-on-one, I can enter you, I can ask you questions. So it was, I guess for me, it was the feedback was tying everything together, right? So I had solid references from solid people, but they were not connecting, like they were not gelling, right? So going back to what I said, essentially, you want whoever that's reading your application, by the time they pick up your personal statements, they can already, by the time they pick up your personal statements and they're going into your mandatory criteria, they can already see that, oh, okay, Toby did this, and now he's saying this, and now he's you know, reference is saying this. Okay, cool. Like they can have a better understanding of you, the work that you've done, the people who you're talking about, people who you've worked with in order to achieve this, and what makes you an attractive candidate for them, like when you come into the UK.
All right. Fantastic. So I would, which is what a lot of coaches do in eMigr8. All right. We have coaches who, like yourself, have gone through the process and they're just advising, proofreading, people's application, making sure, like you said, they're connecting, the dots nicely to make a very good story. So, that any assessor can read and understand that okay, this person did this person did this person achieved this, and this person is exceptional, they were recognized because of this or that, and they are valid, how would I put it, their documentations, their references, their links to validate the story that they have written. So fantastic. We have a question here. Is a bank fintech a product-led organization? I think I would just try and clarify that fintech have multiple products. So they are fintech that focus on savings. So they have a savings product. There are fintech that focus on investment. They have investment product, right? So fintech like Bamboo, they focus on stock buying, investment type products. So yes, they are product-led organization. As long as they have product that they are selling, whether it is payment solution that is a product or is savings solution, right, or investment solution that they are selling, they are all products, right? So a bank, um, most bank now have fintech products that they are selling to reach a particular demography, right? As long as you are in a product team of that bank, yes, you are in a product-led organization. All right. So that's
Moji, if you don't mind, do you mind if I add one or two
yeah,
to it?
sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so in putting together your application, you want to be careful. You want to be careful as to highlight that yes, like this, you want to be careful to deassociate or differentiate the banking products, the fintech products, and the bank, because it goes back to how you properly like communicate this to the examiner, right? If the gist of what they're getting from your application is you're working at a bank that's building this particular product, that may not fly, right? So they want you working at a product led, because you're working at a bank and you're building a product. The the gymnastics that you would do in order to launching that product or even like developing that product is not the same. It's not the same experience as doing it without the fortitude of a bank, right? and they're really looking for digital-led products, products that are built by entrepreneurs, like products that are built by entrepreneurs or people that are like, considered like high agency, right? So if you're putting a bank fintech product, you're talking about alerts, like just talk about alerts. Don't talk about Wema Bank and alerts. Just talk about the product itself and how, it's solving this particular problem and your contribution to developing that particular problem, and contribution to solving that particular problem. You can then maybe, talk about the bank from an affiliation perspective, all right, to give it more caliber. So you worked on building this alert product that got funding or that was funded by Wema Bank, right? That's a better narrative than working in Wema Bank and you built a lot of these products. I hope that was clear.
Yeah, that I think that brought a lot more clarity. Right. So thank you very much. We have, before I go to the next question, I just wanted to say we have a gift in the house for those of us that wait to the end. We have another 10 minutes to the end. So for those that wait to the end, and that gift, you can use it to ask, have sessions where you can ask more private questions and more detailed questions to the eMigr8 coaches. Now, so we have a question. So someone says, I run a service-led business, which um will I be able to leverage this, maybe not for this same process, but another for relocation? So I'm not so clear on your question, right? You say you run a service-led business for most of the right for most of the tech-enabled pathway, they're looking at product-led, right? If you run a service-led business, um, maybe we want to talk about that and understand what the service is around, right? And maybe advice from that point, or you want to rephrase your question in such a way that we can be clear on it. I don't know. Dami, can you sort of figure out what he or she is trying to ask?
I think question is, if I run a service-led business, would I be able to leverage global talents? Or maybe it's not for this particular like visa, and maybe I should try a different visa route for location. Is my understanding of what Esther is asking.
Hmm. So if you can give more clarity, right? For us, there are different, there's a slide that showed all the visa route, most of the visa route that we advise, so we can look at, different visa routes. We have the innovator founder visa, which has slightly more different criteria from the technician visa. We also have the skilled worker visa. These are all targeted at the UK, by the way. And we also have visas targeted at, talent visas, startup visas that are also targeted at other ecosystems, like Canada, Australia, the US, for example. So we can look through those applications. However, if you run a service-led business and you want to build a product, we talked about Labs by Bincom. Labs by Bincom, it's a platform where you join other cohorts to actually build a startup, right? You pick a particular topic, a particular problem in the community, and build a solution that you take to the market. So these are 10 cohort members coming together, doing their user research, their market research, doing ideation, pick a particular problem, and build a solution around this problem and take that solution to the market. Now, with that experience, you're now able to apply for technician, for example, because you've been part of a product-led digital organization. All right. So Lab by Bincom might be a fantastic option for you to explore. All right. And I know that there's a cohort open at the moment and you can join them. Right. So fantastic. So we're gradually coming to the end of the session. If you still have questions, we might be able to sneak one or two more in. All right. But I'll go back to Dami. Because Dami, we have typically in our sessions, we have different demography of people. We like to advise them and our coaches to speak to them. One of those demography is, beginners, fresh out of maybe uni, NYC people, and they're looking at tech, for example, and they're wondering, should I be focusing on technician? When will I get to that point where I'll most likely get an endorsement, right? Well, but we also have intermediate guys that have been in tech for a while, and they are wondering, is technician the right thing to invest in right now? Right? They're intermediate, they are maybe junior developers, right? And they are wondering, is technician the right fit for me? And we also have in the room experts. These guys have built products. They are known in the ecosystems for the product they've built, right? They're experts, front end, full stack developers, you know, and they are also asking the same question, how would you advise them, when it comes to technician visa? Then we have people that are switching, C-suite leaders, maybe from more big organizations, from banking organization, and they are switching into tech, and they are wondering how can they leverage technician. So those are like a summary of the people we have in the room, just looking at the forms they fill before logging on, right? I would like to, advise them. I don't know if you have advice for these categories of people. What would you say to them with respect to technician visa?
So I think I'll start with the very first people you mentioned. So like beginner, people in
Yeah,
their beginner level.
yeah.
I'll say for people there, because technician can become expensive. If I'm being honest, it can become expensive. And like I said in my my presentation, you want to be putting your best foot forward when you're putting together the application. So for beginners or like entry level, except you have money to blow or money to gamble, right? Like I wouldn't suggest you apply for technician just yet. However, all right, if because now with the advent, not advent, but AI, with AI and like the ability to, like build build and ship products like quickly now. I think my advice for people in the early tranche of the people that you mentioned, if they can focus on like, developing certain skill sets, right? Just amassing as much like experience and learn as you can. And also at the same time experimenting and trying to build with like new technologies out there.
Mm.
So if you've done this for a period, you have a better chance of applying for like an exceptional promise because you've tried and tested, you know, like in the real world. But if you just have an undergraduate degree and you have no startup experience and you're just about to get into it, I wouldn't advise you apply for technician. So for people in the intermediary intermediary section or like expert section, if I'm being honest, by the time you look at the application, right, or go through the requirements, like you can already tell like in your hearts of hearts, like whether you qualify or not. And I'm saying this like remove all the bias, remove remove all the thoughts of like bureaucracy, of nepotism, like remove everything and just look at it for face value. Like, have you contributed to, the digital sector in your country? Have you worked like if you've done those things, right? Like your chances, like go up. So now how you coin the story or how you coin your narrative, right? My advice there would be to work with an actual storyteller or someone who someone who has like done this before, someone who knows how to like join or augment like words together to make it more coherent, right? And that's the case. So if you get that, you can put together your application and you're more than likely to like get it. And what was the last segment?
So
Like C-suites.
we have the experts, like full stack developers, experts that have built stuff already. They're known in their ecosystem, and they are wondering, is technician a good visa route to invest in? That's the next one. Then the last one is executives from banks, major organizations who are also looking at technician as a route. Is that how how would you advise those category of people?
Yeah, I'll say if you're looking for a bigger challenge, all right. If you're looking for a bigger challenge, I would say like technician. If you're looking for a bigger challenge and you are like an expert and you have this experience or experiences, like yes, like technician, because it gives you the flexibility of getting a 9 to 5 without sponsorship and also like building a product or a company that you wanted to build. And here, there are different opportunities that are available to like startup founders, from grants that the government provide to incubator and accelerator programs that are available. And what you find is, unlike developing in Nigeria and like trying to raise or communicate with people about your products globally, before you even go into your products, you need to spend time explaining like the African landscape, giving them context about the Nigerian market and how payments works or how this works. But now you're in a different markets that, you know, whoever that you're speaking to, you don't have to go through the hassle of like re-explaining the whole, landscape. You're just going straight into the product because the problem they can like resonate or they can relate with it. What you're trying to build, everything, whole 9 yards is easily digestible by the people that you're talking to. So my advice to those people, on the other hand, yes, it can be expensive, but the pathway to settlement is the pathway to citizenship is straightforward. And if you're looking for a bigger challenge with easier, um, what word am I looking for? If you're looking for a pathway, if you're looking for a bigger challenge with easier or less restrictions from like the government, not restrictions, like better support from the government, right? Like I'll say I'll recommend the a visa, global talent visa to you.
All right, fantastic. So that should have been the last question, but there's a new question, and I don't know how that skipped me. Right, where we want you to talk about your experience building a startup in the UK. If you can just, I know you started off, sharing a bit into that, but if you can be a little bit more detailed, there are people in the room also who are looking to move to the UK to build startup, and there are people in the UK who are looking to leave 9 to 5 and build startup in the room. Yeah.
So my current experience with building a startup in the UK has been very interesting. Interesting in the sense that unlike unlike building in Nigeria, like building for Africa, you can go into the West or you can go into, like countries outside of Africa to see what they're building or how they're building it. And then you can, like customize it for or tailor it for your own people. But now building here, I think the level of market research or feasibility study I've had to do has been more rigorous and thorough than when I was building in Nigeria. So I relocated here about under 2 years ago. I think so far I spent my time doing market research, increasing my network here. Because remember, coming from Nigeria, most of my network of people that I have been building or working with are Nigerians, right? So building the network here to enable me distribute my products, access more opportunities or partnerships. Those are the things that I've been focusing on. Then funding, there are grant opportunities. There are, like I said, incubator and accelerator programs. We did one in December, or we did one in September last year that we've gone through that you can use to get cash to, build your MVP, do market research. Is it time?
No, go ahead.
Um, Now I've lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I got distracted
So
by
you're talking
the.
about the market research and talking about doing your
Oh,
MV.
okay, yeah, yeah, and cause is a new market, new space, new landscape. The conviction, I only now have the conviction to go out there to collect foreign investment or collect investment to build this because I've done the legwork of understanding customer problem, justifying like how much is actually needed to build this for like the next 2 to 5 years into 10 years. We've done the groundwork of, sourcing or finding partners that we could potentially help like make this a reality. So in essence, building in the UK has been more challenging because I've actually had to do the groundwork of, research, having a better understanding of what I'm doing. Because by the time you want to actually launch this product, you're going to be regulated definitely. And at the point where you're speaking to regulators, you want to seem and sound as an authority in this space and you know what you're doing. So that has been my experience so far.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. It has been a fantastic session. I know I was jotting down, and there are a few people that were jotting down also. And the way you took the question, the way you took us through your journey, especially with the technician application journey, was crystal clear on, and I'm sure it will inspire people on how to apply, on what to do when it's time to apply. So thank you very much. There's a question on the chat that I want to take now. It says, I need clarification on switching sponsorship. I'm working as a support worker and I am a graphic designer. So I have a gift for those of you that have, waited till the end of the session. The gift is that you've won yourself a 10-minute consultation with a coach, right? So because questions like this is better off being dealt with one-on-one. That's why I didn't take it on this session. I didn't ignore it because I know I'll give you a better opportunity so that you can ask questions, more direct questions, and we can unpack that for you. Right. So how do you redeem this gift? You go to the eMigr8 community. I put the link to the community. Just go into the community, any of them, and say I was part of the May edition of eMigr8 open day, and the administrator will schedule you for a 10-minute consultation with a coach, right? For support workers generally, if you're looking at you're a graphic designer, I would also recommend that you join the Labs by Beacon cohort so that you start building product, right? I don't understand the uniqueness of what you have done so far, but the fact that you're a graphic designer means you can contribute to the UI of a new startup, for example. So you want to join Labs by Beacon, and it's a 3 to 6 month incubator program where you build an actual product, right? And it's a very flexible system. They don't meet every day. I think they meet once or twice a week just to review what each other has been working on, and they work with flexible calendar time or that works for everybody in the team. So you want to do that. There's a question, please. How do I go about the Global Talent Visa? I want that visa. That's a very generic question, right? And I would say go over this edition again, right? Our coach spoke extensively about how to navigate the Global Talent Visa. It's going to be live on YouTube now, the recording. So go over it again and you would get key points and things that you can learn. Now, when you are done doing that, there is something called technician.io, the technician website itself, technician.io. You want to go there and read all the requirements. There are mandatory criteria and there are optional criteria that you apply against. You want to read all of them, right? You want to jot down all your experiences against all the criteria. Then when you have questions, you have 10 minutes free consultation at the eMigr8 community that you can come as a coach and we can, point you in the right direction. So thank you. All right. If you've gotten value for this, please reach out. Before I let Dami go, Dami, how can we find you? Social media handles, how can people connect with you?
So my LinkedIn is my first name, last name, Dami Loju Morenikeji.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not really as active, but LinkedIn is in a good place finally.
All right. Fantastic. So you can find him on LinkedIn, right? In case you have any other question you want to ask. Um, I'm sure you'd be more than grateful to connect with everyone that reach out on LinkedIn, right? So, and if you're looking at technician, you should be your LinkedIn should be popping. You should do well to update and review your LinkedIn profile. This is just a bonus giveaway because whatever information you're going to put on your application, they are going to validate it. And the first point of call is LinkedIn, right? Because it shows your work experience and it shows the teams you've been with and who has validated your story. So you want to spend time reviewing your LinkedIn. While you're at it, connect with our coach, and I'm sure we'll build together. All right, everyone. Thank you again, Dami. Right. Thank you for your time this evening. We're going to let you go now and enjoy the rest of your evening.
No worries. It was a pleasure again, guys. Moody, thank you for your time. Bade, thank you for this platform. And it was a pleasure.
All right.
Bye,
Thank you
guys.
very much.